Yeah, I'll just pose this question: is the Saints defense or the Tampa Bay defense better? Which one's better? Because according to the numbers here, Tampa Bay is better, but marginally.
I kind of see again. I always go every time this question's posed to me. I always go back to the Saints defense of the past, where they just hold people to 40 points and they score 41. So I mean, I have kind of an unfair bias when it comes to that question. So I mean, I I do think the Bucks defense will be better next season. I don't necessarily say they were better last season. I know that they haven't graded higher, yada yada, but to be fair, the Bucks defense was probably on the field a whole lot more than the Saints defense was,
Yeah.
just based on the million turnovers. So it's kind of a comparison. Like you can look at the numbers and be like, oh well, the Bucks were technically better by a bit, but when it comes down to it, you also got to look at the turnovers and the fact that this to go back a little bit real quick. It's kind of crazy that the Saints were 13-3, considering they lost Drew Brees, which is considered their franchise quarterback of all time, like the best quarterback they've ever had. And to have Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill come in and take over those kind of like mixed, little mixed responsibilities, I think really speaks a lot to the team in general. So like the team just rallied together, won 13 freaking games without their star quarterback, without their number one leader on the team. Yeah, he was still on the sideline, clapping them up, telling them what they had to do, kind of thing. But it's not the same when he's just not out there and kind of being that game manager kind of thing. So I mean, I really do think the Bucks have more potential than the Saints, if that makes sense, because the Saints are already kind of at their cap, kind of at their
They're at their max.
yeah, they're kind of at their potential area, but the Bucks have through the entire roof, like they have to the sky, they
They
to
have
the moon.
they have legendary status possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah, they could go break Peyton Manning's touchdown record. They could go break uh the show or whatever,
the greatest show on turf.
greatest
Yeah,
show on turf. And we didn't even mention the Bucks running backs, but the rookie could really bust out. And there's rookie running backs that just always manage to do great. And considering how they're going to be so focused on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're probably going to just run free.
and another little fact that we kind of left out a little bit, as I alluded to earlier, with Jameis Winston sitting in the pocket, just sitting there, bombing the ball. You got to know the offensive line is used to freaking protect him for like a good 5-6 seconds. They're used to having to sit there, and like keep the guy in. So like Tom Brady moving the ball that quick, I don't think he's gonna have a lot of pressure this year. Not that their offensive linemen are the best in the league or they're absolutely insane like the Saints.
They ranked up top 10
Yeah,
actually.
but-
They were really good.
But they are, but like you just said, they are really good. So it's like Tom Brady with that offensive line, like we know what happens, what happened in New England when he had an offensive line. When he had a really good offensive line, he had time, he could do a lot. That's when they just started scoring, and their offense led the league, and everybody else got screwed. So I mean, I don't know if the Bucks offensive line can hold up, and their defense can just even do like a little bit. I think the Bucks have all the potential in the world to go through the freaking moon.
Yeah. And I feel like the games that are going to come down and matter the most, Saints and Tampa, those two games are going to determine a lot of the NFC playoff proceedings. We could see Saints being like 12-4 and the Bucks being 12-4, and what would you do there? Like you could potentially have two teams that are just like neck and neck, one being the number 2 or number 1 spot and then being the 5th or 6th spot. It could really change how things are. It's going to be a great season for Bucks fans. They really deserved it too.
Yeah, I really think it's going to be kind of interesting, especially with the other side a little bit. Not to get off track too much, but with you got the Seahawks and the Niners out there, which is always kind of an interesting dynamic, especially with San Francisco being on the way up, assumably still on their way up. Going to continue off from the loss. Maybe your bad juju stuff hits them. But
I'm a big believer in it. Just look at the last couple seasons. The teams that lose, except for the Patriots, they're the only ones that
Patriots are an
managed to.
anomaly.
Yeah, they're an anomaly. Every team that loses in the Super Bowl usually doesn't do what they're supposed to do. You know, they don't make a playoff push. They lose in the wild card round, or they don't even make it. And it's you just gotta watch them, and we'll see. I feel like maybe considering how a lot of the teams are just now getting into training camp, and with everything that's been going on socially and medically, that maybe some teams will have a better advantage. But I just feel like the 49ers probably will have a bit of a downturn, and we'll see some more competition in the NFC. Usually the big dog is the Saints, and I still feel like it will be. They have been kind of an anomaly when it comes to the playoffs. Most teams that lose in the playoffs don't do as good the next season.
They just continue to roll on.
Yeah. So all about momentum. They are momentum defiers, and I feel like they will continue to do so into next season. But after that, it's up in the air from there. But